By all means. Right, you should have a drop of that in the cans. Do you want to do that guitar part again? Okay, here she comes.
Public Image, Susie.
UK Subs, Sid Vicious.
Upstart.
White Boss.
Bad Manners.
White Boss, Screwdriver.
Screwdriver.
Penetration.
Retrospect.
Extroverts.
Yeah, Cyclone B.
Really sort of raw early punk, you know, just sort of badly played stuff, you know, like the early days.
I like Public Image, and not because you were just in the Sex Pistols. But when they first came out, I didn't like them. I like The Fall, I like Killing Joke, but that's about it.
Bad Manners, Upstarts. Personally, I mean, I'm not going for everyone else here, but I like the Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
And Body Snatchers. Yeah, Body Snatchers.
Madness. Other groups like that. Specials. The Clash.
Yeah, all right.
They're alright.
Not as good as they used to be.
Not as good as they used to be. They've gone down a lot.
They've just gone against sort of what they, you know, what they used to stand for. They've gone against completely, you know.
Sold out.
Yeah. Selling out means losing the energy and the enthusiasm we had before, but it isn't to the older fans, the old people who were around 76. You know, the energy's gone, the originality.
Well, to me, it's doing the whole, like, rock thing where, like, bands, you know, they're kept back and then they go on a little tour just to promote the album and then they're off the road for the rest of the year. You know what I mean? You know, ads of them and,
I think
you know,
selling out.
It's selling out is just basically, you know, like, just using a group to sell a product and nothing else.
It means fucking ripping off the fans and that, ripping off the people that come and see it by charging really expensive prices.
What most of them think, if you get sold a bit of money, signed to a bigger company, they think that you're sold out and all that.
some guys are on the phone.
And the first one who says that to me says that we're sold out because we're signed to a big company. I'm going to smack them in the mouth.
It's just totally uncalled for it. It really is. I mean, fucking side it, but we can't come up with you and say, do you want so many £1,000 to side to somebody? Go, no, I mean, street credibility, like, you know, one day pick me nose. Can't do it.
I mean, I want to go and swap shop.
They're just one big sort of, they're just into it for the money, aren't they? They're not into it, you know, what punk stands for, are they?
Making a living out of it, basically, is what they mean.
The way the band set on the bus box, the way they turn out banshees and the Superstar, the Clash, a bunch of wankers, bib.
I hope it never gets that big again. I hope nobody ever gets so big that they have to play to 200,000 people in a field. I mean, what happens if you're the 200,000th person in? I mean, what can you possibly hope to see, you know? I hope nobody ever gets that big again.
Would you give it up if you got that big?
Maybe.
If you can just sort of not push so hard at the front, because all these barriers are going to come down and the poor people here are going to get fucking killed.
It's the song that starts off with the inflammable materials planted in my head. It's a suspect device that's left 2,000 dead, which is basically the propaganda of these people trying to get you to join paramilitary groups. You know, that was basically the inflammable material. And that has obviously killed a lot of people because a lot of kids have fallen in line with that, joined these organisations and managed to get themselves killed. Right? There's the whole sort of two fingers up to the world bit, which in a way we did to Northern Ireland. Not Northern Ireland as a country, Northern Ireland as an institution to grow up in, because it's very, very different from the rest of the British Isles.
Well, we did not create punk. Anybody who claims to have created punk is a liar, with the possible exception of John Rotten, and he wouldn't claim to have created it. What I hope we did was to try and propagate a state of mind which would allow for something to happen. We were ranting and raving about how everybody we saw in a band was somebody who we'd seen in another band a few years before. We were saying, you know, why don't we see more kids in basements playing to audiences like themselves? And while we couldn't, wouldn't and shouldn't have predicted exactly what form it would take, hopefully we predicted that something was going to happen and blow everything wide open.
I reckon that the only sort of true punk bands there ever were the Sex Pistols and the Damned. The Clash were always a bit sensible.
So I think the way that you know, your Strummers, your Geldofs, your Wellers behave is infinitely preferable to to the way that your Stuarts and Jaggers and Zeppelins behaved?
All punk seems to have achieved is to have opened the doors for a new establishment that is the same as the old establishment. Yeah. All the things that everyone was against, the sort of record company, the whole profit-making setup has been, and the Star Trek thing, it's all come round in a circle.
They're the new establishment simply because of their success, right? But you'd never get Geldof behaving in as condescending a way as, say, Rod Stewart. You'd never get Strummer being as narrow-minded and as callous as, say, Jagger or the Led Zepps. I think it's infinitely preferable.
I imagine what will happen is that the big new wave names will become exactly the same as the old wave names. I mean, they just have exactly the same establishment, exactly the same autograph clubs, fan clubs, the whole business, and probably films. But whether it has to be like that, I don't know. I mean, someone like Paul Weller he's been through the same as a lot of the other punk bands, but he doesn't seem to have compromised on his ideals at all. He's not got into either the sort of parasitic jet set side of it or the self-parody thing. Like Jimmy Percy's appeared, to me, he seems to be now self-parodying himself on the telly. It's...
Okay, third verse, yeah?
It's very sad.
Fucking arseholes. You want to see me do the other one? It's what? Let me do the last part. You knew he was going away. Drop me in after. Oh, Simon, don't you ever give in. Drop.
Okay.
You knew he was going away. It had to happen someday. Now people have forgotten him, but for miles I want to sing the story of a daydream.
We try not to think about him, as we say.
Now, Sam were right when they first started, but after when they played the end of Polytechnic, it was being filmed on Arena, and he slagged us down on Arena, and then he got worse and worse, and eventually at the Rainbow, he goes, well, I've done everything for you, and you've all given me, and he picked up 4 pence off the floor, and threw them and threw it back at us. So we just gone off him and that.
You had your chance. They said she's just plain Jane. Oh, isn't it such a shame to be just plain old Jane? Oh, will you ever know your name? Poor cow, you had your chance. They said she's just plain Jane. Oh, isn't it such a shame to be just plain old Jane? Oh, will you ever know your name? Oh, cow, you lied to all mankind, but you get fucked up, body out of touch. Poor cow, you need it so much. Poor cow, you had your chance.
artists are incredibly self-righteous, and they don't see that anybody has any right to any kind of opinion on their work at all, except that it's wonderful.
Well, there have been a lot of people who've credited me over the past few years with doing all kinds of marvellous things and helping this band and that band to escape from obscurity. And I suppose if I were to examine it, but I mean, how do you quantify these things? You know, you really can't. My role is that of super fan and super consumer, if you want to be cynical about it, I suppose.
Most of the time, I'm not writing for the artists. I'm writing for the consumers. People often refer to NME as a trade paper. It's not. It's a consumer paper.
I have amazingly little involvement with the record business, the record industry and things. I go to the occasional reception of an evening, and there is one, because I can get something to eat and drink and while away the hours between sort of 6 and 9 o'clock. But, yes, I have amazingly little contact with the record industry at all. Just don't like it much, to be honest with you.
Nothing I write is to be taken as gospel. Nothing any rock critic writes is to be taken as gospel. Nothing that anybody says is to be taken as gospel.
I hope people learn to accept that what is written is just the individual opinions of the person who's writing it, and he's open to various corruptions. I just write honestly, I think, and I try to avoid all the sort of bribery.
People obviously try and put pressure on you, so, you know, this is have you heard this, and can you listen to it again, and we all think it's a great record, and so forth, and depending on who it is who's saying it, I'll sometimes respond to that. I mean, I'm more likely to respond, frankly, to a listener's letter than to a record promotion man, because it's their job to do it. But then if somebody writes in and says, hold on a second, you haven't played such and such a record, why not, it's great, I'm quite likely to go and dig it out of the pile and listen to it again, you know.
As long as you're happy with what you're doing, fuck the rest of them, and we are. And if someone happens to like us, like say Gary Bushell, it's all very well. It's all very well. But if they don't, we're not going to fucking change just to suit what they want. They can go and do whatever they want.
I think occasionally we're too anxious to find next week's thing, and this may result in a lot of things being dismissed before it's time for them to be dismissed. But I still think that's better than sort of mindless conservatism, which you get in.
We've been accused of hyping Mud, but Mud actually started before, it's actually going on before anyone had written anything about it. It started, I remember the first Mud band I saw who consciously called themselves Muds were the Purple Hearts in October last year at the Tidal Basin in Canning Town. And they were dressed, I mean, they was really odd then, it was really unusual, but it was obvious they had something going for them, and pretty soon there was quite a few people who had been skinheads, or who had been in other ways involved in music at the time, were starting to become mods themselves, starting dressing that way and starting to follow around the Purple Hearts. And so when we actually first wrote about them, which is that live review in October and the first article in February, it had actually started. Now, of course, once we started writing about it, then it spread the idea, and other people caught onto it too. So in that extent, we propagated it and we spread it, but it was a real movement.
I wonder why we got so much to do. I wonder why we carry on like we do. Saturday night and Sunday morning, I've just woken up, but I'm still yawning. Millions like us, oh yes, there's millions like us. Oh, with tunnel vision, making decisions. Everybody's living in their private hell. That's a sinking feeling you know so well. And people dying on every day, and you know it's therefore to stay that way. Millions like us, oh yes, there's millions like us. Oh, with tunnel vision, making decisions. You can live by yourself, and for yourself you can survive on anything at all. But unless you put in something in you, get nothing out, you'll never win. I said millions like us, so yes, there's millions like us.
Well, I suppose we are because we're mods, but I mean, you know, we're not just a mod band, we're a band for everybody. Anybody wants to come to see us, teenagers, people under 20, etc., etc. It's no good calling us just a mod band 'cause it's too narrow.
Do you think you would have broken through eventually, even without the mod scene?
Yes. Of course,
Yeah.
we're a good band, we're a group in our own right, you know, it's
Yeah.
irrespective. I mean, we were doing it anyway. There was no massive mob revival last year when we started.
And how long have you actually been together and playing as a group?
Well, Purple Hearts in May '78.
Oh.
That's what mod's all about. It's psychedelic, this is, isn't it? I told you should. He dropped some acid this morning.
Well, I didn't mind. I mean, I didn't sort of anything against them or anything, but it's something that's been before, you know. It wasn't anything original. So if it'd been original, you know, it'd been all right.
Newcastle was a variety. So you had all these mods, sort of about 300, I should say. None of them looked over 16, like, I don't know. No, they weren't that young, but they were quite young, 16, 17, 18, you know. And about 300 in front of the stage, and at the side of the stage were these sort of long-haired jobs. And the moment we hit the stage, I got a beer glass in the back of my neck, you know, and they were throwing glasses, cigarettes, I can't just go and wank, just like that, you know. Come on, and I was sort of going back to them, you know. And I was pelting with stuff. And then about halfway through the set, they threw we were terrified. They threw a pint of beer over him. About 7 times. Anyway, I said to all these mods in the front, I said, look, these kids are trying to stop the gig. I said, you know what to do. Which is pretty bad of me, really, but luckily it worked out all right. So they all piled into these kids, didn't they? There was about 300, and there were all these bang, and it sort of went right. They went all over to one side, and then it started to get really rough. Tables were being used on each other. People were falling off the back. It was like a western. And in the end, the mods won, with pretty few casualties.
I basically think that if a hall is going to take on a band like ourselves, any band at all, you know, because let's face it, I mean, most gigs, kids get up, come to the front, jump about, you know, be it Led Zeppelin, be it Stiff Little Fingers, be it The Clash, be it Rory Gallagher, you know. And I think that these halls should realise what they're accepting when they take these bands on. They should be prepared to remove the seats if they don't want the seats damaged. You know, if they do want to keep the seats in, then they should be prepared to let the kids get up and enjoy themselves. But they just don't seem to understand that.
I think the Electric Ballroom about the worst place for gigs, really. Because, I don't know, you sort of go into gigs and that, and, well, you sort of see one person having a fight, right, and they sort it out, and they sort of leave it alone after that, and then, you know, then the bouncers lay in. They don't just kick them out like they should do. I mean, they're supposed to break up fights.
How to get rid of the bouncers, basically. First of all, if halls didn't have such stupid rules, it would make life a lot easier. Like, they come out with things like, there's a hall in Bristol called Colston Hall, right, where they have a rule that kids aren't allowed to move out into the aisle to dance, right? They're allowed to stand up in their seat, right? Which means, like, if you're standing, you've got that much space in front of your legs, and you're supposed to jump about and enjoy yourself in that amount of space, right? Which, the minute a kid makes a move out into the aisle or towards the stage, and these big guys are down on him, smack him in the head and throw him out the door. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them, I reckon, they just go there to sort of bounce, just so that they can kick the shit out of someone, really, not so, yeah, that's right. And that's really sort of what they like doing, you know, they're not really sort of, they're not there to stop any trouble, are they, really? This is what they're supposed to be doing.
Last time I went to Nashville, right, I was sort of quite annoyed to be shaken down at the door for weapons and stuff, whatever. But, on the other hand, it's also dreadful when you go to a gig and there is organised violence. So right there, you've got two choices. Do you get a lot of punters pissed off because you shake them down and maybe a few people don't get let in, which is very annoying, right? Or do you let everybody in and then allow 60 British Movement skins to carve up the entire audience? What do you do? What's the choice?
to be some sort of training course or whatever for these boys, where they can go and learn, you know, I mean, just even simple situations that arise in crowds, you know, like that, like kids getting up and dancing. They should be able to recognise when a kid's in a good mood, rather as opposed to when he's going to hit somebody over the head with a bottle, right?
Where there's been a lot of stupid tribal warfare, you know, between punks and mods, or punks and skins, or skins and mods, or, you know, pick two from column A, two from column B, get them pissed and throw them together, and look what happens. What do you do? I don't know.
You're fucking just as like as a bunch of skinners. Back off the stage. Here we go. Come on, mate, who's for that?
A lot of it is people who support fascist organisations like the British Movement or the National Front. A lot of it is completely non-aligned, neutral troublemakers who just like a ruck. And I mean, I don't like going to gigs where there's violence. In fact, I don't like going anywhere where there's violence. My last fight was when I was 13. I lost an
You're supposed to be a form of entertainment, however you look at it, right? And you're responsible for them people, they're there to watch you. And I mean, that's it. I mean, you're not going to run backstage. Don't pay us to run backstage. You fucking will do something about it. Which is the only way to look at it. That's not being flesh-free, that's just being fair. There was a ruck there, he's saying, that's all I know. There was a ruck and a few... And they said they don't want provocative bands from playing, yeah? Why do they... For some reason they consider us provocative. I don't know. Probably because we wear... I think it's because of our type of music.
On my end of the ballroom, like, there was a few fights, so we decided it was a beard. Instead of, like, the bouncers stopping it, we stopped it by getting off the stage and...
Yeah. Is that a better method? Yeah, well, if you walk off like most of them do, if you walk off, they're going to carry on fighting because they know there's no cunt there to stop you, you're shooting out. But if you steam down into them when they're having a ruck and you join and have a ruck with them, they won't do it again. There was 2 rows there that night.
I started one of them, mate.
Both the rows, we stopped both of them. We stopped both, just us, it stopped as soon as it started.
The Rejects don't want violence at their gigs and are prepared to deal with people who cause trouble with trouble. They're prepared to fight fire with fire.
If the group has their own security, there was hardly any trouble.
I mean, there was, it wasn't just fucking jump down off the come in. Yeah. It was please stop, leave it out, you know what I mean? You're skinheads, you're getting yourself bad names, don't be silly. Yeah. And then I just kept on, and I kept on, and I kept on, taking us to Max. They even chucked a pint of beer over me.
We don't want bouncers on stage with us, we let our roadies.
They got a road crew, really great blokes, but they can handle themselves as well. And I've only seen them actually had to fight anyone once, and then about 16 of them decimated 40 skinheads who were causing a lot of trouble. Another time, the BM turned up at a gig, and they did start doing the Z-Gold business, but one of the roadies just said don't, and they stopped.
If kids get on the stage, then if a big fucking 16-stone bouncer walks out and batters him, pulls him off stage, the audience get aggressive, don't they?
Yeah.
So if our roadies sort of like pull the geezers away, not for you. We don't fucking hit kids who get up on stage with us. You know what I mean? If a kid wants to get up and jump about on stage, it's quite welcome to, as long as he don't like start fucking up.
If someone want to talk to you, like you talk it over, if they want to have a ruck with you, you've got to have a ruck with them.
Don't speak to me about the reasons.
West Ham, no, I just don't like. They never get nowhere anyway because the music. That's all they do is sing about football and things like that.
You think they're putting over a false image?
Yeah, they are.
The East End and...
They're just trying to act like shamming like things, you know what I mean?
Trying to be something like all got long hair. No, they're trying to put on an image that they're tough and all that. You know what I mean? And they're nothing.
Punk music and skinhead music, well, the oi bands are really just punk bands that have been categorised something different, aren't they? The oi bands are just like a new punk thing, so why don't the skins and punks just get together and that and sort of, you know, fight the people that are sort of pressing us like the fucking pigs and all that, you know?
No, and all skinheads should stick together, really. Yeah. You know what I mean? By rights, because it is a skinhead cult, there's only one cult, isn't it? Yeah. They should all stick together.
The skinheads originally and that, you know, the sort of 1969 ones and that weren't so many for violence and that, but the skinheads at a day and that, they sort of...
All skins are together though.
Yeah. Commie skins.
Yeah.
The wankers.
The anti-Nazis.
Only boys and LGS, Ladbroke Road skins.
Because they're wankers.
They run about with the niggers, beating
They
the
like
lights up.
They like
So I know quite a lot like that my way and that, and they're all right, but you get some that sort of, you know, just go and cause trouble.
These type of people, they come along, right? They stand at the front of the stage, they're giving you all the Nazi salutes or whatever, and they're basically just out looking to start trouble, right? I mean, we were talking earlier about going through weighing and beating people up, or doing whatever. And I mean, these are the guys that they should be looking out for.
I mean, you can try and take their knives away from them at the door, but then you get stupid things like, you know, you go down the Lyceum in a pair of Martins, and unless you've got long hair, they'll take your bootlaces away from you. So the solution, I hope you're watching this carefully. If you go down the Lyceum wearing Martins, take a spare pair of bootlaces with you, then you can kick anyone's. So whoops, what a giveaway. Sorry, next question, please.
A lot of the cops are scared of the niggers. You look at that fucking Bristol, 200 niggers. You should have shoved 200 skinheads up there, we'd kick the fuck out of them. The whole building, they'd have fucking run away, a bunch of cunts. Didn't have much chance, 200 skinheads would kick bollocks out of them.
If people like that ever get into power, or ever get so far, or so much support that they can get close to power, then, I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be exactly the same as Belfast, but it's going to be bloody close. And I've seen what it's like, and I've lived through having an army control you and tell you what to do.
We come from the East End, yeah, and we used to play down at Bridge House, and then there was loads of skinheads used to go down there all the time, but they've all got put away.
People get stabbed.
Yeah.
Like Friday night.
One bottle up. Yeah, I'll get stabbed. I'll get fucking stabbed.
It was mistaken.
In the back.
Do you want a picture?
What, want a picture?
Pose up, pose up, pose up.
Posers, come on.
Poser. Someone signed his name in that. Oh, Wenger.
That's someone mistaken.
More scars of violence.
Scars of violence. That was battles with Nignog.
I mean, people like that are going to do to rock and roll shows what the hooligans did to football, you know. I mean, it's going to make it unsafe for people to go out and enjoy themselves, you know.
I tend to go to gigs in sort of like, you know, out-of-the-way places. I mean, I go to very few gigs in London, not to like escape violence, although obviously I don't want to get duffed up, but just because I think, in a way, I prefer the reaction to bands in places that are slightly less sophisticated than London. You know, in London there still does seem to be the kind of go-on, impress me attitude. I mean, that's a gross generalisation, I appreciate, but I used to like going to somewhere like the Factory in Manchester, and that was still going, or, you know, just going seeing bands outside London. being of an enormous age, I'm old enough to be able to observe the whole of the kind of history of rock music, or rock and roll, whatever you want to call it. And every once in a while there's a kind of return to the wellspring, you know, if you like, to gather fresh inspiration. And people then reappear from this source with a kind of adjusted music, which obviously to a lot of people that went around with Blue Beat and Ska and the first mod things were going on anyway. So those people, it will all appear to be new and fresh.
There is awakening of interest in all kinds of new styles. There's reawakening of interest in all kinds of old styles. There are millions of different permutations and combinations of styles that old and new.
Who knows what may happen next? I should hate to forecast it. I mean, the Radio Times just been asked me to forecast what happens in the 1980s, and I really avoided the issue, because it's the not knowing that from which you derive your greatest pleasure, the unexpected nature of it.
Feeling ill, can't explain the way I feel. People die and so will I. It could be slow, it could be quick, slow. It all seems such a waste. God will give you just one taste, only one sip of his wine, only one life, cats get 9. Feeling bored, that's no fun, being out of touch with everyone. Click my fingers, crack my toes, I'll kick the dog and break its nose. Intellectualise it all, to group my mind still on the ball. Or go spy on the neighbours next door, listen to them through the wall. They do the same they did last night. First they argue, then they fight, then they screw just to please me. It's just about more fun than TV. People die, I will soon, and then I won't write any more tunes, and I won't stand here and talk to you and wonder what the fuck to do tonight. 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 Slowly feeling ill, can't explain the way I feel. People die and so will I. It could be slow, it could be quick, slow. It all seems such a waste. God will give you just one taste, only one sip of his wine, only one life, cats get 9. Feeling bored, that's no fun, being out of touch with everyone. I'll flick my fingers, crack my toes, kick the dog and break its nose. I intellectualise it all, to group my mind still on the ball. I'll go spy on the neighbours next door, listen to them through the wall. They do the same they did last night. First they argue, then they fight, then they screw just to please me. It's just about more fun than TV, but people die. I will soon, and then I won't write any more tunes, and I won't stand here and talk to you and wonder what the fuck to do tonight. 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 Tonight.
So I've become involved with the new music and interested in it, fascinated by it, and the people involved. Granada let me do 2 series of a thing called So It Goes, which put all the new bands on in 76, well, late 76 and 77. Then suddenly I had nothing to do in it. And a friend of mine was managing a band, so I went into managing the band with him. And then that band was making its first gig and didn't have a club we didn't want to play any of the old clubs, so we had to start a club, which was called The Factory. And then we wanted to put a record out in the autumn of 78. That was the spring of 78, in the autumn of 78. And there was no record company, so we thought we'd put a record out and call it Factory Records. And then Rob and Joy Division were going to go to Warner Brothers subsidiary, and they thought, well, the way that the first thing worked on Factory, maybe we could do more with it. That was Rob's idea, and it just all grew. It keeps on growing, and you keep doing new things because you want to do them. And then afterwards you think,
Well, that's really a good idea, that.
There are just more bands about than ever before. There is more variety. I just think that, you know, that people are going to continue to form bands, they're going to continue to form independent labels, they're going to continue to launch ventures like this film.
It often does base around a sense of place. And Manchester, for a variety of reasons, in the late 70s, was extremely vibrant, and that culture produced at least three bands which are, you know, of major importance, all of whom work with us, and we work with them. And in fact, Factory Records is a cooperative of the management of those three bands. It's not even a record company. You know? So yes, it couldn't have happened without the spirit of place and without the creativity that came out of Manchester.
I can't stand the futurist thing. I think that's terrible, you know. But I think the punk scene's sort of like getting better in a way with the underground sort of bands like the Cynics and the Erratics and all that sort of thing. But the best punk scene at the moment is in America.
I mean, there'll be no real music for a while now because the next set of kids are now going to copy their older brothers, like they do. I mean, for example, the set of kids who could be creating the next new thing are into the Oi band, who are, and the Dead Kennedys, who are really two-year late retreads of the Pistols and stuff. So suddenly you get copyists and you get that lack of vitality in the next generation.
It's sort of fighting back. It's going to be better than what it, you know, was when all the bands sold out in the first place, because the band's not going to sell out now, are they? Because no one will want them, you know.
Now I think, particularly if you take the historical perspective and look at it as this is the third cycle of pop music. And the first was 56, second 63, third 76. But what happens now is not so much new styles come in, but that the musicians who have blossomed from the outsider music point of view and become major artists in their first couple of albums will now pursue another 3 albums in which they will develop and get better, and the music itself that is already around will get much better. And then it'll all go shit, and they'll all sell mega millions, and it'll all be crap, and then we wait for the next revival.
You can't catch every train. Some of them elude you. Or walk in every field, or tread every path. A comic always smiles. A dancer never trips. A singer hits his note, but I can't be a star. My physique's all wrong. I never felt the part. Now I just sing along to records that I wish I'd been on. I want a dressing room. I want a roadie. Great big mixing desk and then I'll be a star. No more skin told me I'll have big boodles, loads of flash clothes, and loads of but I'm not a big pop star. I play the part on. It pays for drinks and fags and gives me some small amusement. You can't catch every train. Some of them elude you. Or walk in every field. Or tread every path. Now.
Why don't you have a sort of a rehearsal take of it all first, so at least we know what the questions are, so we've got answers prepared.
I don't know what the questions are, mate.
Write them down or something, I don't know, then it's not easier. Is he filming now or what?
Yeah.
Oh,
Don't worry.
God.
Oh my God, I'm going to give up tomorrow, you know. I obviously have no right to be doing this or anything else. In fact, I'll shoot myself.
So I went to a party with Radio 1 producers, Jack X and Billy B, you know, this kind of thing. And when we got to the party, there was another BBC producer on the floor with 3 airline hostesses and a goat, you know, that sort of thing.
I used to buy sounds years ago, and I'd read something by John Savage saying, for example, someone was really great, and I think, oh, he must be really great. And when I went out and bought it, and I didn't like the record, I used to think to myself, oh, there must be something wrong with me. I never thought there was something wrong with John Savage until I actually met him, and then I knew there was. Too much violence.
What by the people
There's a wasp by the camera now.
Too much violence. Too much insect violence.
Somebody said at the beginning of the year that there was going to be a Ska Blue Beat mod revival. You'd have thought this is madness. Oh, well, no pun intended.
While we're on the film, we're not gonna garden stick our fingers up and say we're punks, because all them are gonna, they just think they're shocking people. We're punks. We're punks. Boy, I got you.